So the Model 3 Highland in a surprise release dropped yesterday, very late last night, and Tesla sent an email today saying, hey, we've upgraded the Model 3. They listed a few enhancements that they've done, but overall, almost everything about this car is better than it was before with the previous version, which you can actually still buy. The one big caveat is you can't get the tax credit anymore, including on the new refresh version of the Model 3. The one exception to that is you can see that leasing is still $329 a month, which is the least price. That's assuming you put down $4,500. And Tesla has actually given the $7,500 payment across the lease payments to bring it down to that $329 price. So that's the only way to kind of sort of still get the credit if you are actually interested in leasing. But if you are buying, this is not something that is available. And the only vehicle that the tax credit works for is the previous performance Model 3. So let's kind of dive into this car. Full description of all the changes is going to be in the description of this video. A lot of people are posting about those, but generally, if you've been in the market for one and now are looking at it, you're going to get a really, really great car. The one thing is because the tax credit doesn't apply, because both models that are currently available for purchase, the rear-wheel drive as well as the long-range dual motor, both of those have their batteries imported outside of the United States, which don't qualify them for the tax credits. You are looking at, with the current purchase price that they are originally, which is $46,000 for the long range and $39,000 for the rear wheel drive. This is by no means the peak of pricing for these vehicles. It's actually a lot less than during the peak of 2022 going into 23, and then the prices went down, but it is a lot more now that you don't get the $7,500 tax credit. Time will tell if this does come back, but right now the only way to kind of have the previous pricing is you really can't, or you have to get a lease or get the Performance Model 3, which isn't going to be this refresh version just yet. So that is not purchasable, as you can see with this new refresh model, with the new colors and the new features. We have to wait to see what Tesla is planning with the performance, but it should be good. Generally, if you don't know, the previous Model 3, the performance version just had different suspension, faster, a little bit of other changes with just a spoiler and bigger rims and brakes, but overall it was pretty much the same car. They're taking a much more thoughtful approach to make this car feel a lot more special with the Performance Model 3 that's going to be coming out with the refresh changes. And I do expect that to be made with the US battery so that it does qualify for the tax credit. Generally, because the best-selling car is still the Model Y, they have to reserve as many of their batteries for their best-selling vehicles and the ones that have higher requirements as much as they can until their capacity increases to the point where they could put those batteries into the Model 3 and then get the tax credit eligibility. So that's just something to think about. From a range perspective, the rear-wheel drive is the same. The long range has slightly more range than it did in the previous version, and then the top speed is actually lowered a little bit. This doesn't really matter too much for the average person. If you are driving this on the Autobahn, I guess you may wish you had that extra 140 plus mile an hour top speed, but most people aren't driving that fast, and you are still getting the same acceleration time between 4.2 for the long range and 5.8 for the rear wheel drive. This lease shows $474 a month, so Tesla, as you can see, is offering zero down options for leasing. It does say it excludes taxes and fees, so you're still going to be paying a couple of $1,000, even though it does say zero down, because you have to pay for the destination fee, you have to pay taxes, registration, title, license fees, etc., and those do add up to quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Zero down doesn't mean nothing out of pocket. It just means that the price towards a vehicle doesn't have to be $4,500. It could actually be a lot less. So let's go through some of the other changes. We have stealth gray as a brand new color. You've got white, blue for $1,000, as well as black for $1,500. But the new ultra red is really, really good. If you've seen these on the roads with the newer Model S and X, we are now getting these colors for the Y and 3, and I just love them. It's a really, really, really cool red. And then the stealth gray looks a little bit darker than the midnight silver metallic previous gray, which is no longer purchasable. The wheels are here too. I think these look pretty nice. They do look to me a little bit better than the previous aero covers. There's going to be a ton aftermarket, so feel free and get those. You'll get nice efficiency, because if you do upgrade to these rims, which I also like as well, you are getting a bit of a range hit, right? You're getting about 25 miles less range with the upgraded 19-inch rims versus the 18s. You're getting the full 270, 272. If we go to the long range, that goes from 341 all the way down to 305. So That's about a 10% hit on your range, and they're going to be having a bunch of different styles that you can just swap this cover out and save yourself some money and get all the not have such a range hit. So that's what I would recommend. You're getting the same interior colors. The other big changes here with the nose stalks. There's a newer screen, smaller bezels, a lot faster, more responsive. The whole cabin is quieter. Generally, driving is going to feel much better with different road noise. The tires and wheels are different that are more efficient. All the seats are ventilated. That's something that we're finally bringing cooling to these vehicles. There's going to be additional enhancements to the wireless. So what I mean by that is the wireless connectivity is going to be 5G instead of just 4G on the current cars. I hope that's something they can just incorporate with the older vehicles with a software update, but you'll be getting faster speeds if you are buying their premium connectivity. And then you're also going to be getting better wireless Bluetooth connectivity for your phone that apparently will have less hiccups when trying to unlock your phone from a distance, which has been an issue. The door feels better. It's not really a feature, but generally these doors, I've actually wasted a lot of time trying to close the door that doesn't close all the way for the Model 3. And so that issue apparently has been resolved. There's a display in the rear of the vehicle, brand new speakers, 2 subwoofers now instead of 1 on the long range. The rear wheel drive still doesn't have a subwoofer, but it does have 9 speakers. And then there's 17 speakers for the long range, which is the previous one, I think, had 13 or 14 speakers. Full self-driving is the same. Enhanced autopilot are still different options, but overall, this is going to be a car that is the same price as what it was before the change. We don't have a tax credit now. The way to kind of get that, if you aren't interested in this and maybe some of the changes aren't worth it to you, is if you go to vehicles and go to the right under inventory, you can actually still get the existing inventory discounts that have been offered before. You can already see here, you can save $6,000 on a Model Y that is still eligible for the tax credit. But if we go to the 3, you'll notice that any brand new 3 is still the previous version, and you can get the tax credit there. So for this, for example, you're saving almost $5,000 off the sticker, and you're actually be able to get a performance all-wheel drive for less than a brand new Highland long range Model 3. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You can actually get a Model Y for less than the long range 3, and you can get Performance 3 for cheaper than the refresh version. You have to go to the existing inventory discounts and check that out. If we go low to high, this is as cheap as I'm seeing in the area. It's $35,000 for the previous Model 3 rear-wheel drive. This even brings the lease price under $300 a month. So this may be very appealing to some of you that want to keep the stocks on the car, or maybe you care about that top speed, or maybe you really want the stocks on the steering wheel and you like the old look. This may be appealing to you to continue to look at existing inventory discounts. Just keep in mind, even though this is the old version, the tax credit does not work on the rear wheel drive or long range, but it does work on the performance model, which is only available in existing inventory until we see what they do with Highland upgrades that you just saw whenever they release that performance. So the big news is you can order it now. It's so much better. They'll be hitting the different, not dealerships, but the Tesla shops in your area hopefully soon. But check out those changes in the description below. Let me know what you think. Are you going to buy this? Does it incentivize you, or are you going to still wait for the tax credit? All right, that's it for me. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.